Sophia Soder with The Nurse of Color, and can I just say, this movie, I loved it so much. It is so good. Congratulations, and thank you for talking with me about it.
Thank you so
Of
much.
course. Nice to meet
So
you.
we are, of course, nice to see you, and we are going to be talking spoilers because I have to talk about that ending. So we're going to hold it. Feel free to say whatever you guys like.
Let's talk about
Madison,
it.
I know, right? Like, we gotta talk about it. That
Absolutely.
ending was the best ending. I loved it so much.
Really?
And oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was so
Okay.
like unexpected in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't predictable, which I appreciated.
For sure.
But actually, getting to your character, the past really becomes her future, and through this, she learns to take advantage of the present, which is something I feel like we don't do enough.
Sure.
What did you personally enjoy most about her arc and her decision at the end?
Yeah, I think my favorite part about her arc is that she starts off like just very inside herself. Like she's not necessarily sad. She still finds joy in her life, but she is lonely. And I just like I really love that she, finds her soulmate in her sibling, and and makes her even softer, or gives her the place to be soft.
Yeah.
Like that
And Antonia, going off that, I think in a lot of ways, Summer needed Lucy at this point in her life. Like, I think that sisterhood was something they both needed. Why do you think that relationship changed her for the better? And what did it mean to her to have Lucy stay?
I think that Summer, while she is a character that does have a good head on her shoulders and she has a sense of confidence and a sense of self, at the same time, maybe it's because of the time that she grew up in, but she doesn't have the same confidence as her sister. So having them meet and become friends, I think they brought like elements out of each other that normally they would have kept hidden if they didn't have each other. And so, I think her deciding to stay really is a good thing for Summer because now she has someone that she can truly confide in, someone that she can grow with and go on more adventures with, and that's something that I don't think, in a different sense, I think Summer was also very lonely and in her own world. And so having the sisters come together and kind of like open each other up is just very beautiful.
And I want to ask you both your thoughts on the plot twist. I mean, there were a few plot twists connected
I know,
to
I'm
the
like,
killer.
which one? Be more specific.
I know. Like, talk about all of them, girl. Like, let's go down the line. What did you guys think? Because that was, again, loved it. I love being surprised with a movie like this.
I mean, I'm a slow reader. So reading the scripts, it was probably the fastest I've ever read. I'm like, who's the slasher? Who's the slasher? Who's the slasher? Like, let's get to it. Like, where is it? And I can't. I mean, it didn't disappoint. The shock was there.
Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I found it funny. I found it funny that there's a line that Summer says where she's like, "You can't. Just because I rejected you doesn't mean to murder me." And I just think like that's so true, girl. Like so true.
Super valid. I was like, hey,
So
that's a good
valid.
point.
Like,
what is this guy even on about?
Who does he think he is?
Honestly, that is the best way to look at this.
Smartest kid
I was
ever,
like,
and like
yep.
you never did anything. Like, you built this machine to spite us. Like, that's crazy.
Like
Crazy.
he held a grudge.
Just like
He took it to the next level.
Grudge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, my favorite part of it was that it like went back to such a moment that you didn't know that was so significant. Obviously, Lucy saving him from going in the river, that was a moment that I feel like could have been overlooked in the plot. And
For sure.
the fact that was such a big connection was so interesting to me too.
Totally. And I think I really liked that moment because in Lucy's world, like, that wasn't a big deal. It wasn't I'm saving the world. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, this wouldn't fly at my school. Like, it's just doing like something so simple. And I think that's like, there's something to really be said. It's like in the moments that you're not even thinking about that are changing people's lives,
Yeah. And lastly, there's a quote in the movie. I'm reminded that one single moment in time can change everything.
Sure.
Is there one moment in your career that you feel really changed everything for you?
I feel like I'd be I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say Outer Banks. I mean, like, it changed the entire trajectory of my life.
Same.
Without a doubt.
With Ginny and Georgia. Yeah. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that has continued to completely change everything in the best way possible. So
Thank you
dreams
so much
do
for your
come
time.
true.
Just like that.
Thank you both. I appreciate you.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Hi, Hannah. Sophia Soto with the Nerds of Color. And first of all, I just have to say how much I love this movie. It was so, so good. And I can't wait for everyone else to see it. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you. And we are going to be talking spoilers because I got to talk about all the great plot twists in this movie. So we're going to hold it till after release. But to start off, obviously, as I just mentioned, so many good plot twists. And I felt like they really wrapped the movie up in such a good way. Can you tell me which one you're most excited for fans to experience and any small clues that they could have picked up on along the way to kind of get to that ending?
Let me say that my favorite twist is obviously figuring out who the slasher is. And I really hope that it's satisfying. You know, we did a lot of work to make sure that it felt not predictable. We wanted it to be a surprise, but that the second you figured it out, it felt very earned and very understandable and actually like very relatable. And it also plays into our theme, which is that you get to choose every day who you want to be. You know, so like Lucy sort of looks out for the little people around her, like the people who are struggling or the people who are being bullied or stands up for her sister. And I think, so I want to inspire people to sort of like make change and be the change. But also when you realize who the slasher is, they get to choose now to have a different future than the one that would lead them to be a killer, you know, and that I think is really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And which scene was most challenging for you and what did it teach you?
Well, the shooting at the Marine Museum of Manitoba, which is those big, awesome, spooky boats that are sitting above ground, it was challenging in a lot of ways. Those boats are, you know, fairly large, but in the interiors can be cramped and tiny. So just like anytime you're trying to get a whole crew for an action sequence into a tiny space with cameras and boom poles and everything is hard. And then we also had planned to shoot the exteriors of the boat with a certain type of equipment that we had some technical difficulties and weren't able to use. So I would say this is something that I always sort of embrace as a filmmaker, but the ability to pivot, you know, in the moment and just do something differently and still make your day and still make it cool is something that I'm always trying to achieve. I mean, to me, filmmaking is not about like getting a plan in place and then executing that plan. It's getting a plan in place and then preparing that that plan is not going to work and being able to pivot as quickly as you can.
Definitely true. And what was it like to see Madison and Antonia bring these characters to life? I mean, by the end, I really felt their love and their sisterhood for each other. And that's one of my favorite things because obviously in the beginning, Lucy really says, like, I don't know my sister. I'm kind of just living like my life is defined by her death. And I like that by the end, we do feel that.
Well, I love that you picked up on that. I mean, they are both extremely talented actors and they really embodied these characters, but they also like elevated them off the page. They made them more interesting and more dynamic. And one thing that I have just learned from directing a lot of, you know, young adult content across movies and TV is you can't necessarily create chemistry. It either exists or it doesn't. And these two actors truly have fantastic chemistry. I mean, they were so fun together on set, and you really see it in the movie. They do love each other. They feel like family, and that to me is one of the greatest sort of just lucky things about the movie.
What did you enjoy most about the way the story ended, Lucy choosing to stay back? Because I felt like that was such a surprising ending in the best way, because sometimes time travel movies can feel repetitive, and this didn't because of all the plot twists, but also the ending, her choosing to stay, her choosing her sister.
That was a very difficult choice to figure out what the most satisfying third act would be. And I think part of it is that, like most time travel things, there are a billion different possibilities. Like it's a multiverse of endings. And we, you know, workshopped a lot of them, including various endings where the sisters were together, but they were different ages. And that felt nice that they were both alive, but the 20-year age gap felt unsatisfying. It's like you really want to see the two 17-year-olds getting to grow up together. And so I think we did find the sweet spot where not only do they get to, you know, basically be sisters now, but they get to do it in 2003, which what could be better?
Thank you so much for your time again. Congratulations on the movie. I can't wait for everyone else to enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
The activists, directors, comments and the lectures, fanboys, professional artists and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.